Hello out there. This is Terry with your full moon in Aries astrology report. And I didn't lug the singing bowl all the way out on this long hike we are on the Deschutes River, but I did the drawing earlier and we're going to put it in there. And Gail Burnt, you won a full astrology chart. So I'll put the link down below to KamimiHealingArts.com. Just go ahead and email me your birth date, time, and location, and I'll get started on your full astrology chart with energy clearing. How fun. And every full moon until I reach 1,000 subscribers, I will be doing these astrology chart giveaways. So be sure to like, subscribe, and comment for your chance to win. And I hope you took that nap I was telling you to take on the Libra new moon, because we are going into this incredibly intense, fiery Aries full moon that couldn't be a different shift than that peaceful Libra new moon we just came out of. And there will be no rest for the weary and no rest for the wicked now. So I hope you got your rest, and we are entering the gateway to the eclipse portal in Scorpio, Taurus. Later this month on October 25th, we'll have a new moon in Scorpio, solar eclipse in Taurus. Whew! Prepare for liftoff, or prepare for landing. I don't really know if we're coming or going with this energy, but we got some crazy energy happening, and I know so many of you have been asking what is going on. And the truly crazy energy is just beginning. We're just at the precipice, as so much is going to happen, starting with this Aries full moon, but then going into this eclipse portal. And it's a time of breakdown, breakthrough, transformations, that whole death, transformation, rebirth cycle that is the Taurus Scorpio eclipse portal. And we're going to have a lot of hot tempers flaring with this Aries full moon, and a lot of feelings coming up as this full moon is conjunct Chiron, the wounded warrior healer, and lots of PTSD, old traumas, everything coming up. Our wounds are the place of our deepest gifts, so don't be afraid to feel those wounds with this full moon, man. Just embrace it. But my mantra for this going forward into the crazy is don't engage with crazy. If somebody's coming at you and they have a hot temper, it's just going to be a little wild out there, and it reminds me of like a zombie apocalypse movie, but everybody's having their PTSD and their trauma and their hot tempers rising up, and you don't want to engage with it. Just don't say it, walk away, take lots of deep breaths during this full moon cycle, because there's just so much hot yang energy with this moon. And we talk about this in the 9-star key. In October, we have the 3 wood star, which does rule over motivation, moving forward, momentum, all these awesome things that will be coming in October just to finally get us going in the right direction. But with that increase in energy vibration, you know, when you go from a place of stagnation and you want to go up the energetic scale, a lot of times anger is on the way, and anger motivates people. So as people get motivated, there can be some rage and some arguments that comes with that. And I'm going to talk more about that in my 9-star key October report. But you'll just want to be careful not to engage the crazy, not to get into arguments or debates with people who are just in a rage. And there's just so much for all of us to process this month, as everyone is energetically shifting and we are recalibrating, and our very earth is trying to find its balance now. So there's just a lot of change going on within and without in our world right now as we move into this brave new world that we are co-creating daily. And a lot of us are having these incredibly otherworldly dreams right now. And I think that's still part of that retrograde season that we will be emerging out of this October as the planets start to go direct. But these retrogrades are giving us these intense spiritual soul dreams, and maybe you've been having them. If you've been having them, I'd love to hear about yours. All my massage clients are saying they're having just these wild dreams right now, and I have been too. And I've been having even prophetic dreams. I sadly had a dream of a woman dying the other night, and then I woke up in the morning to find out from a friend that a really good friend from high school had passed in the night, and I think I was just tapping in and just dreaming about it, and it was so sad because I'm at that age in my 50s where I'm starting to see people just spontaneously die. She died of a cardiac arrest. And so pay attention to your dreams, write them down, give them focus, because they may be trying to tell you something really important. And on October 9th, we have the Aries full moon conjunct Chiron in Aries, that wounded warrior healer. And we had a very similar Aries full moon in the fall of 2020, when the full moon then also was conjunct Aries, Chiron in Aries. And so remember where you were in October 2020, the year of the COVID pandemic. What were you doing? How were you feeling? What were you coping with? Because we will be revisiting that sensation, and this will be in the same place in your chart as it was then. And we could be revisiting some of the insecurities and scared, fear-based feelings we were having during 2020 in the fall, as this full moon just sort of illuminates everywhere we were then all over again. And even more so, some of the old stuff that maybe we push down. I think in psychology, a lot of times we just push trauma down. Oh, I'll deal with that later. And now Chiron in Aries conjunct this full moon, 16 degrees of Aries, is really saying now is the time to process your trauma, your pain, your hurt, the fear you had in 2020, all the confusion. Maybe a lot of people had relationship issues in 2020 and they just haven't really dealt with it. Just whatever it was you had to heal from that time, it's coming back up this time, revisiting in a way that you can't ignore it, and you have to heal it. And if you are in your Chiron return, if you were born between 1969 through 1976, then Chiron is returning to the place it was when you were born. And that is also asking you to pay attention to all even your childhood wounds. And this is a time for the healers to heal thyself. So many Chiron and Aries people are healers, wounded healers that haven't taken the time to really work on their own grief, trauma, pain, sadness. And Chiron is home in Aries, where he loves to say, Chiron in Aries is like going home to his cave, where he loves to be, and he will stay there for an extended time. So we've had this Chiron in Aries transit from 2018 all the way till 2026, and that's just giving you plenty of time to heal yourself. And we also have Eris in Aries that's really close by until 2024. Chiron and Eris, they have so much in common. Eris is the goddess of discord, who has a lot to heal herself, as she was excluded from the big wedding. If you know this story, it was Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite, and they excluded Eris from a wedding, and Eris went into a full rage about this, and she is the one who placed the golden apple there at the wedding that said, "For the fairest one." And all the goddesses began to fight over who deserved to have this apple, who was the most beautiful, who was the most fairest, and they couldn't agree. And so then it was Paris of Troy who finally chose the winner, and he chose Aphrodite. And it was a big scandal, a big fight broke out, and this is the beginning of what was the Trojan War. So you can see how these issues of abandonment, of exclusion, of insecurity can cause rage, tempers to flare, and actual wars in our society. And Aries is a fascinating goddess planet, part of this whole divine feminine energy rising that we have seen. And you can go down a whole rabbit hole online and learn so much. There's so much to learn about Aries, but what you really need to know is that Aries is squaring Pluto right now, and this is causing major upheavals, disagreements, and ultimately leading to healing transformations. But the healing transformation comes after the rage, the anger, the upset, and a lot of it is just about insecurities for wherever your Aries and Capricorn houses are. You'll want to pay attention to where Aries and Capricorn are, because that's where you have this square happening in your own chart, and it can be causing some insecurities and feeling abandoned and feeling left out and feeling like you got ditched or weren't invited, that kind of feeling like Aries. And how are you going to get revenge? And it's a lot of negative obstructive energy that you don't want to tap into, but it will be coming up. And Chiron has in common with Aries that Chiron's mother also rejected him, because when Chiron was born as a centaur, imagine if you were a mother and you gave birth to your baby boy and he had horse's back legs and you'd never seen that before, and his mother kind of freaked out and was like, I don't know what's wrong with this child. I don't want this child. Of course, we now think that centaurs are revered for being these amazing, otherworldly creatures. But at the time, his mother didn't want to raise him. And so Chiron was an orphan. So Chiron and Aries, they're both together in the house of Aries, and they have so much in common with these insecurities, abandonment, these issues. And this full moon can bring up all kinds of feelings of unworthiness that we need to heal, and insecurities, and even feeling like you want to get revenge on whoever caused you this insecurity. So all these low-level, insecure, fearful kind of energies can really be coming up this full moon. And just let the feelings come up. Don't try to stuff it. This is the time to process. And you don't have to act on your insecurities. This is not a time you want to get into a big fight in your relationships or with your partner. This is a really good time, again, for just journaling and just writing it all out and getting the feelings out, or, doing something. I think this is an excellent full moon, honestly, for a fire pit, because of course Aries is that fire sign, and you can use fire to release any of these low level limiting beliefs that may come up, or any insecurities you have about just not being good enough, not deserving, feeling unworthy, that time you were rejected, whatever insecurities you have, write them on a piece of paper, throw it in a fire pit. And when you heal these old past traumas and these old stories that really hold you back, it releases the baggage in your life, and then you can begin to create a more magical life by just tapping into your true self. At your core, you are deserving of love. At your core, you are deserving of abundance. It is your birthright just for being here, and you have nothing to prove. And so doing this kind of fire ceremony of just releasing anything you need to let go of, any past hurts, wounds, traumas, all of it, throw it in the fire and just be freed of whatever that emotion is, that low-level limiting belief emotion. And then maybe you could even do this with some friends. I think this would be a really good circle to have, like a full moon fire with some of your goddess circle friends. And then you can just begin to enjoy your quantum possibility once you have burned the old self that was limited and traumatized. And then you can become your own divine, authentic self. And knowing you have the right and the birthright to passionately pursue your desires and to manifest whatever it is you want in this world, and to thoroughly enjoy your experience here on earth. And you will begin to manifest, I promise, if you do this. I've done this kind of fire ritual before, and it is amazing for releasing. And then you could just try doing some affirmations. Like Aries is a really good time to do those I am affirmations, whatever you want to create in your life. I am love, that I am. I am abundance, that I am. I am a butterfly farmer, that I am. I've always wanted to be a butterfly farmer. But whatever it is that you want to become or you want to manifest, just state it in that I am and see what happens. And this full moon will be opposite the Sun and Venus, both hanging out together in Libra, which gives us a beautiful, harmonious, peaceful, easy feeling, even as we're delving into all of our trauma and all of our wounds with the full moon. The Sun has us kind of anchored in this peaceful, loving. It reminds me of a mother who's just singing a lullaby for a troubled child who's awakened from a nightmare. And the mother is just giving this child this soothing balm of a song to put them back to sleep. And that is where the placement of the Sun reminds me, with that Sun and Venus in Libra, anchoring our relationships, bringing us balance. And it's like a white dove of peace, ensuring us that we will be okay, even as we are looking at our deepest traumas and our hurts, and we're doing the healing work. There is this Sun and Venus and Libra that's got us, and we're okay, we'll be comforted. And Sun and Venus will trine Saturn in Mars in a grand air trine just a few days after this full moon, and this will really be affecting all of the air signs. So if you are Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius, but we all have Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius somewhere in our astrological chart. So whatever houses those are in, we will have an opportunity to make a change for the better. This is really inspiring. Trines are always those lucky stars of opportunity. And this grand trine with Mars and Saturn is just so powerful. It's just going to lift you up and out, and maybe you get a better job, better paying job, more security, better housing situation. I know several people who want to live somewhere better, and this is like suddenly you get an opportunity to move to this nicer home, or maybe you buy a home and get a better car. Something really good can happen, and you won't have to struggle and strive to make it happen. It can just fall in your lap. If you just align with the energy of this beautiful trine, things can just snap into place. And it's Sun and Venus, both in Libra, trining Saturn and Mars in this grand air trine. You'll want to pay attention and tap into that. And if you believe it, I believe you will receive it this time. So keep your mind focused on what you want to manifest, and be really careful. Ignore anything you don't want to manifest, because this is an expanding time. So whatever you focus on, if you're focusing on the negative things, you're going to see more of that. So make sure that you're only focusing on what you want more of in your life, like love, abundance, happiness, friendship, joy. Just paying attention for this full moon on the things you want more of, and it will come for you. And October 22nd, we have a really powerful Venus Sun Cazimi. And this is when the sun is going to illuminate Venus and just expand that heart chakra, that big heart opening love energy, and the ability to manifest. Venus gets what she wants. She's like Lola. Whatever Lola wants, Lola gets, and so does Venus. So this is another opportunity with this October 22nd Venus Sun Cazimi to really tap into that manifesting from a place of your heart. Get out of your brain and get into your heart, because your heart is where you're going to manifest with this aspect. And it's so powerful. I think I'm going to do a whole separate report on this transit and how to manifest with it. So make sure you subscribe to get more about that. And then Venus and the Sun will both enter Scorpio on October 23rd, just before that new moon solar eclipse happening on October 25th. It's like Venus and the Sun want to get a front row seat to see that solar eclipse in Taurus. And on the Aries full moon, I like to look back at that Aries new moon spring equinox, which was on April Fool's Day this year in 2022. And do you remember where you were, what you were doing? What were the seeds of intention that you were planting on that April Fool's Day this year? Because now is the time that they should have come into fruition. And this is how you manifest with the moon. You plant your seeds of intention on a new moon. And it takes about 6 to 7 months to gestate, to be born, to be completed into fruition, to really show up in your life. It's not like you plant a seed of intention and the very next day you get the thing that you were hoping for. It takes some time. It's a rhythm of a lunar cycle. And so just curious if you remember what you were trying to manifest about 6 or 7 months ago, and just see if it came to be. I know I was writing my Reiki for Abundance book, and it is published now, and at this Aries full moon, I have the book in my hand, and it's out and it's available. And just like giving birth to a child, I'm still working with the energy of this book, and I'm still promoting it, and I'm still teaching classes and giving it away. So it's not like you're done just because it's come into fruition, but it's just a really good time to pay attention, to take inventory of your year's growth and your results, and did you manifest what you were trying to manifest on that Aries new moon. And the last full moon was the harvest moon. This full moon is the hunter moon, but it's also known as the late harvest. And so this is the time to just see whatever we planted in the spring and pay attention to what seeds did indeed bear fruit and what seeds did not, just like any seasoned farmer will do. And Aries is ambition, and this full moon can also be about letting go of some of your ambitions, because full moons are a letting go time. And so is there anywhere in your life where your hardworking ambition is not paying off? Is there anywhere in your life where you could just give yourself a break, and maybe you don't have to do that one thing anymore because it's not really giving you that much payback anyways? And take inventory about what is selling, where are you making your money, where are you putting your energy, and is it paying off? And if it's not, how can you readjust your focus now on what is truly rewarding you? This is the work of an Aries full moon, and you can't do it all. And if you're doing too much, you might just be diluting your efforts. And I'm just talking to myself right now, honestly. And we can make adjustments before we have this next new moon in Scorpio eclipse, so that when we plant our next seeds of intention, we've really analyzed what we want to be focusing on and what's our next move and where is the best place to put our energy to get the best fruit back in 6 months. When we have in May, when we have that Taurus full moon, that's when what we plant, the seeds of intention on the Scorpio new moon, our next new moon, will manifest in May on the Scorpio full moon. And I said last time I was going to do the body for each of the signs. So I just want to say Aries is the head. So it's a really good time to get into your head and just really think about your plans for the future. But if you know any Aries, they almost always have some kind of scar on their foreheads because they have those jutting foreheads and they're always going forth with their big brain, and they just have so much ambition and they're going so fast that they just crash into the wall. And almost every Aries friend I know has a scar somewhere from that one head injury. So you don't want to go head into the wall with like things that aren't going to bear fruit, right? So just take that time and focus on your head, and we may all be having some headaches with this Aries full moon. I know a lot of people are having more headaches. Maybe that's just the energy of this Aries full moon coming in too, because it is your head. Be mindful, mind your head, as they say in London. Let's look at the Sabian symbol for this Aries full moon. It is at 16 degrees, and it is nature spirits that are seen in the light of sunset. And we're here on the river just before sunset. Maybe we'll see some. In the light of personal fulfillment, a symbol of sunset, where man may be able to establish contact with natural forces at play. These are active anytime growth and healing processes take place. But man's mind is usually too focused on working and consciously setting goals to be able to realize the presence of invisible forces influencing things in the realm of life. Nature spirits are inherent in all biospheres. They act as guiding, balancing, and harmonizing factors, just like the endocrine system does in our own bodies, or energy like prana, the solar energy. Nature spirits gives us an invitation to open our minds to an unlimited possibility in a kind of repotentialization. It is a process of becoming like a child, or embracing our childlike mind full of wonder and awe. That is so beautiful. And this is such a time to go in and heal that inner child too, and do that inner child work, just connecting with your inner child and asking your inner child, what does it need right now at this full moon? And here we are, deeply rooted into fall in the northern hemisphere. And it feels like the sunset of the year. And it does feel a little mystical as the veil begins to thin. Like there are these nature spirits that can come forth. And the days are getting shorter, and the darkness is coming in longer, and the light is diminishing. And it feels like there's never enough time in the day to get everything done right now. And that could still be the pull of that retrograde planets, as I covered in my retrograde season astrology report, if you saw that one. And luckily, some of these retrogrades are going to go forward this October. Mercury goes direct on October 2nd. Woo, that's today, actually, I just realized. And Vesta goes direct on October 5th. And Pluto will go direct on October 8th. Woo, man, that is the biggest one. Pluto has been retrograde all year, just pulling us into that deep soul work, past life regression stuff. And Pluto in Capricorn at 26 degrees stations direct on October 8th. Just as we go into this full moon, Pluto comes into power. And Pluto has just been hanging out at this 26 degrees of Capricorn, moving so slow and just stationing at 26 degrees for weeks now. And during this retrograde, I just have to read also the Sabian symbol for Pluto in Capricorn at 26 degrees, because it ties in remarkably well with the Sabian symbol I just read for this Aries full moon. And the Sabian symbol for that Pluto at Capricorn, 26 degrees, is a nature spirit that is dancing in the iridescent mist of a waterfall. An ability to perceive the hidden and creative spirit of natural phenomena all around us. And a revelation of the spiritual or psychic forces related to the element of water. Water is life, and it binds all living cells in a wholesome interplay. And it symbolizes the constant flow of vital energies, the fluidity of a consciousness which finds itself stimulated by change. In the great cycle of water within the Earth's biosphere, oceans, clouds, rain, and rivers symbolizes a basic phase of universal life process, the ascent and descent of emotional energies and love. This is Anima Mundi. Water is the substance of the manifestation of our soul. It is a magical substance, and modern chemists are rediscovering in their study of its unusual behavior in certain situations. What old alchemists, in their own way, no doubt understood. Water is in focus now, as we have had historic droughts affecting our whole world right now. And so Pluto remains at this 26 degrees of Capricorn as it stations direct on October 8th. And Pluto is the great transformer. And it is squaring that Eris and Chiron and Aries, and both exalted, wounded warriors. This is a time to stand up and fight for your rights. And we are seeing that right now with the incredibly brave women in the Middle East. And my heart goes out to them for fighting for their freedom. And I hope they find empowerment, and all the women in the world got their back. We just all want that divine feminine energy to rise up. And we're seeing it in our own country too, as women are fighting for the rights of their own body, which just seems incredible that we still have to fight for the right for our own body. But we will also see people fighting for water in the next few years. I really see that coming. Anyways, on to the planets going direct. They're all going direct. It's so exciting. On October 23rd, Saturn and Juno will go direct. In November, Jupiter will go direct. And in December, Neptune will go direct. So we're really going to be in good shape when all these planets station direct. We start feeling really empowered again, and we're able to move past our limitations. The shackles have been removed, and we can try to make it all happen and just manifest that shit. And thank Goddess for this fresh, new forward momentum as we go into the winter. We're actually feeling good energy behind us. And now that bow and arrow, I was talking about the bow and arrow, and it was like the arrow was just pulled back and the tension was just sitting there wanting to let go. And now we can let go of that bow and arrow, and that arrow can finally go shooting towards the bullseye of our goals. We can finally start manifesting the things we wanted to, start working towards our goals again with this forward momentum. And in the 9-star key in October, we move into that fast growing tree wood star month, and I'm going to do a whole separate report about it. But we can finally start getting things done again. It's so exciting, and get moving and grooving and going forward and making money. And we just have one little retrograde left to worry about on October 30th. Mars, who rules our ambition, is going to go retrograde in Gemini. Wah, wah, wah. So you win some, you lose some. Mars retrograde in Gemini, in the planet of communications. This reminds me of that really loud, obnoxious, angry person that you know who suddenly goes quiet. And when they get really quiet, now you start to worry, why aren't they barking and complaining? Why are they getting so quiet? And Mars has been just moving really slow already and just calculating its moves in Gemini like a seasoned chess player. And now, as Mars goes retrograde, it will also be squaring Neptune, which will cause confusion, delusion, distractions. Our ambition is going to get foggy again. And with Gemini, who rules over our mind, it might be a little hard to focus after October 30th. So if you have something really important that you want to launch, something you want to write, something you want to do, I say, gosh, do it between like October 8th before October 30th. If it really is something that's going to need your mental clarity, get her done. Because October 30th, when Mars goes retrograde in Gemini and then it squares Neptune, we might lose our sharp focus. And this is a time to write it all down. I've been really getting into writing my to-do list down on pen and paper. Instead of just typing it into my phone, I will write it down. And if you're going into a contract with somebody or an agreement, get it in writing. Get that contract in writing. This is not a good time from October 30th on for verbal contracts or verbal agreements. You're going to want to have it all in writing. And I saved the worst for last because you know how much I don't love talking about this, but on October 4th, just before this full moon in Aries, we will have Saturn square Uranus. And in this corner we have Saturn in Aquarius, and in this corner we have Uranus. And Saturn and Uranus get into the boxing ring for their final duel on October 4th, and with maybe just a little bit of encore square energy that could last through December. We'll still be feeling this square through December. But for all of us fixed signs, and that includes Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, I will be in the front row of this boxing match with my popcorn, just waiting for it to be over. I cannot wait for this. We have been in this Saturn squaring Uranus diamond making pressure since early in 2021, and I'm just gonna say hallelujah. I don't care who wins. I like Saturn, I like Uranus, I like them both. Can it just be over now? And this has been a very restrictive energy for all of us, and it's like we've been in quicksand with just our heads above quicksand, and we're just trying to stay up with our heads afloat. And when this is over, it's like we can finally climb out of the quicksand, I hope. And many of us have had to pivot our business in strange ways and find new ways to approach our work during this time. And perhaps you've had to cancel plans, and it's not all because of the retrograde. It's this Saturn-Uranus restrictive energy square. This square has made launching projects or doing business so difficult, especially for fixed signs. And when this square started, the energy just was not supporting us moving forward. So a lot of people kind of got stuck in this push-pull, like going 2 steps forward, 4 steps back. Like you just couldn't get ahead. And maybe we can get back to some kind of forward momentum when this is over. And Saturn in Aquarius represents the old ways of thinking, traditions, some old limiting beliefs, strict rules, authority, the heavy-duty soul karmic lessons that you're just not getting out of. These are the lessons you came here to learn, obstacles, obligations, and teachers. And Uranus and Taurus is representing rebellion and unexpected earth events like we've been having, hurricanes, earthquake, lightning starting, wildfires, breakdown to breakthroughs, awareness, innovation, new technologies, and some fresh new ways of thinking. There are some positives to both Saturn and Uranus. With Saturn, I have a strong Saturn. I like rules. I think that we should have rules in our society so that, like, people, I don't know, don't ride their bikes on non-bike trails, or I don't know. There are some rules that do have safety and security in mind, but then Saturn goes too far and just becomes restrictive. And Uranus has these incredible, innovative ideas. I love Uranus that rules Aquarius. I have a lot of Aquarius. I don't like to be inside the box either. But, you know, we have to have a balance. And this year with this square, there is no balance between the old structure and the new way of thinking. And they're just at a battle. And we got to get that Libra energy, that Sun and Venus and Libra energy, to just balance out these two. They could be friends. We need them both in our world. And I hope that when this final conflict is over, we can have more of a harmony where we can have some rules, but we can also have some great innovative thinking that thinks outside the box. I love both Saturn and Uranus. And when they battle, though, we have shakeups, disruptions, and wanting to move forward, but getting stuck and feeling like we're just stuck in the mud and struggling between the old ways you used to do things and how you got to try to innovate and do things differently now and maybe earn your living in a different way going forward. And all of our money is changing and our entire paradigm is changing. All of reality is changing, and it's super exciting, but we're just in that growing pain period, and it can make a lot of us feel a little bit insecure. The only good thing that can come out of this Saturn-Uranus square really is resilience. I think we've all gained some incredible resilience after these 2 years of everything going on. When we get through it, man, we are like invincible. We can survive the Saturn square Uranus. We can survive anything, and we can make it through. And I honestly think, just taking a little sneak peek at 2023 lately as I'm getting ready to write my big 2023 astrology reports, it does get better, you guys. After this square, it is gonna get better. I'm so happy to say this. I promise you, if you are struggling right now, if it's been hard for you for the last couple of years, just hang in there, because it's gonna turn around really soon once we get past this October 4th square. And this last hard part, it just reminds me of like the conflict in a good movie. Like if you're in the Lord of the Rings movie, this is when it's the final conflict. And then they're all going to go back to the Shire and life is going to be good again. And we're just right there. We can do this. We can do hard things. We'll get through October 4th. It's like tomorrow, I think. And when we get through that, life is good again. We'll go back to the Shire. We'll drink beer. It'll be all great. And it's funny, when COVID first started, everyone was asking me, when will it be over? When will it be over? And I kept saying, I think 2023 looks really good. And that was not astrology, because I wasn't looking that far forward in astrology. That was just pure my instinct, my intuitive hit. But now, as I am getting closer and I am looking at the astrology, I think I was right. 2023, it gets so much better. So just hang in there, just a little longer, cat on the tree branch. We're gonna make it. And next year, the light returns and we just find ourselves in this totally auspicious place. So stay tuned, because we're gonna get through. This is kind of the last big roller coaster ride before we get to go off and go home and life is good again. So thanks for watching. I'm going to include an energy clearing and a pendulum energy clearing and some distance Reiki for all of you to get through this Aries full moon and heal your heart, heal your body and soul. Use this time to heal your inner child. Really take the time to heal and have a beautiful full moon. If there's anything that you are working on or you want some distance Reiki healing for, just leave a comment below and I will personally send you distance healing Reiki for this full moon, because I know it's going to be an intense one for many of us. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.